Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another week of the Better Events Podcast. This is Mary Davidson, one of your co hosts. And in today's episode, we are talking all about bonus tips from fellow event pros, getting advice, recycling name badges, and so much more. This is a really fun episode where we compiled responses from some of our super fans, and they shared some advice and bonus tips for you all. And so let's go ahead and get into this episode.
Welcome to the Better Events Podcast. Join two event strategists, Logan Clements and Mary Davidson, who believe we can all create, host, and attend better events. In this podcast, you will learn about event strategy and actions that you can use today as an event host, planner, or manager. Hear directly from the people who are creating innovative and inspiring events today and tomorrow, and grow your business along the way. Now, let's get started, and thanks for listening to the Better Events Podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Better Events Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Logan Clements, and I'm joined by fellow co-host Mary Davidson. And this week, we are so excited to hear some bonus tips and some reflections on growth from some of folks we want to call our super fans of the Better Events Podcast. But before we get into it, we have our conversation starter this week. So, Mary, I feel like summertime, we've been hitting the road a little more. For fun, I guess, than work. What do you like to listen to or do when you go on a long road trip?
This is a good question because we just recently went on a 6-hour road trip. Is that long? I don't know. I guess it depends who the person is. For me, it felt long. I'm not a big road tripper. So, what I like to do, well, first of all, I think I need somebody else in the car with me if I'm going to be on a road trip, because what I like to do is like talk and dream. Like, I'm just like, what if, because, like when you're driving in general, sometimes you'll just like have ideas because you're away from like your phone or your computer or whatever. Road trips, like, that it's like that, but like amplified. And so I'm like, what if we could do this and just like talk about all the crazy ideas? So that's honestly my favorite thing, is to chat. And I don't like to chat a ton. So if you want to chat with me, take me on a road trip. There you go.
Oh, that's
Logan,
so wholesome, Mary.
I know, right? I know. What about you? Is yours this wholesome, Logan? Let's hear it.
I was definitely, I love that you were envisioning company. I was envisioning me by myself in the car. But yes, mainly because I've learned I had to recently do a like little surprise road trip because of a flight cancellation. And it was just me and 4 hours on the road. And so I've decided I like to chat. So I called somebody and they talked to me on the phone for 2 hours. So it was a very long call, but very, very fun. And I just loved that I had somebody I could call randomly on a Saturday night to be like, they're probably home, and just chat. But I am also a notorious podcaster, which feels a little meta of like, we have a podcast. No, listeners, I'm not listening to our own podcast, but I love listening to other podcasts. And recently I have been really obsessed with some of my reality show recap podcasts that are recapping Love Island. If you've been watching it, I'm not watching it. I'm just listening to these recap podcasts that recap a week of episodes in 90 minutes. And it's just really fun. But I don't do that when I'm like driving with my partner. Somebody else will listen to music. But if me by myself, it's just a string of podcasts.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you there. I've been into some true crime lately, which is not usually my thing. I'm like never been into that in my life, but now we've cracked the code on true crime and I love it. So couldn't agree more.
We now need to jump in to tell you about the Better Events Conference. Yes, we are hosting the Better Events Conference for our third year in a row this year, and we are hosting a virtual day on October 1st and an in-person day on December 18th. We have different ticket types available if you're only able to join us virtually on the 1st, or if you would like to join us both days on the 1st and the 18th here in Seattle. Here is a couple more details about our conference.
On Wednesday, October 1st, this is the virtual day. We'll be ditching the PowerPoint and lectures as much as possible and instead focusing on conversation starters, interactive workshops, group consulting, and more. Some of these will be recording. Some of these you have to be virtually in the room to experiencing them. On Thursday, December 18th, this is our in-person workshop day. This is where we feature interactive workshops and small group work. You will leave with things like a new system, a new goal, or a new perspective on your event career. We will be gathering, like we said before, at a secret location in downtown Seattle. So it's going to be really fun. More to come on that.
Now you might be saying, Logan and Mary, how do I buy a ticket? So go to bettereventspod.com/conference in the show notes if you want to learn more. We will also put the direct registration link on SwapCard. Tickets range anywhere from $55 to $169. $55, that lower price point, is going to be for the virtual day only on October 1st, and access on that day only. So you need to be there live, get all your information, and then you don't get access to the platform afterward. All the way up to $169, which is going to be our highest price point for the all access ticket. That means you're coming to our virtual day October 1st. You get access to replays. You can rewatch things, keep downloading content all over the months, and then come to our in-person day here in Seattle, December 18th. And without further ado, let's get back to the episode.
As you know, I like to talk about why we choose our podcast topics. So today, this is a special episode. We love you all. We love our podcast community. And honestly, when it comes down to it, you all are experts in your event worlds. And so we appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, but we know that you have expertise to bring to the table as well. And we want to tap into that. So we asked some of our super fans to send us some answers to some questions. So we asked them questions and we had them choose which one they wanted to answer. So our first question was, how have you experienced growth this year? Our second one was, what is a bonus tip or like a random event tip? You know, we do our bonus tips that you'd like to share. And then the third one was, what is a piece of advice that you've received that has felt relevant to you this year? So they could pick one, and we are excited to hear their responses.
First one's from DC Evans, and she tackled a bonus tip for you listeners.
Hi, my name is DC Evans, and I'm the owner of Kind & Company Events, an event management company located in Seattle, Washington. Here is my bonus tip for the Better Events Pod, the power of associations. When you're thinking about joining an association, don't just focus on the cost. Think about the full value it can bring to your business. Yes, solo entrepreneurs and companies need to watch the bottom line, but associations offer so much more: networking, education, visibility, and access to new trends and tools that can help you grow. And if you have a team, consider dividing the memberships among different organizations. This way, your company gains a wider network, stays on top of industry developments, and avoids burnout by sharing the responsibilities of staying engaged. You don't need to join every association out there. It's about finding the ones that fit your business and your goals. At the end of the day, these aren't just memberships. They're smart investments that can help you grow and sustain your business long term. Thank you.
Thank you, DC. I really like the second. I loved it all. The second part, though, really stood out to me, especially when you said having the teams share the responsibility of staying engaged and joining different associations. I've never thought about that. What I think is, oh my gosh, there are so many associations. How do I have time for them all? So for that reason, I personally pulled back from some, but I know they're valuable, and there is a sense of collaboration and networking that occurs when you, and just in betterment, education, all those things when you attend their stuff. So I love that idea of sharing the load with your team. Logan, what about you?
Yeah, I think talking about some, we've mentioned them here on the past episodes, but looking for your local, I know DC's probably saying this because she is the president of ILEA, ILEA here in Seattle. I know Mary and I both have gone to some of their events, as well as there's MPI, there's NACE, there's so many acronyms. So I just encourage you. I think that's some of my go-to advice, as well as anyone new to an area. A lot of these places will let you go to the first one free, like as you're just checking it out as a new member, or you can go as a guest of another member. And it is great, to DC's point, you don't have to join all of them, but just kind of figuring out what works for you. So I really like that one. Thank you, DC. Mary, do you want to introduce our next one?
Our next clip is from a big fan of the podcast, if we can say, but also we're a big fan of her, so it goes both ways. You may have heard her name before, Alicia Drewby. We're so excited to hear your clip.
Hello, Better Events Podcast. This is Alicia Drewby from Positive Impact Event Consulting, and I have a bonus tip for you. If you are constantly feeling anxious about the number of name tags and lanyards that you're building up in your office, I can recommend a company that does recycling. It's not super cheap and the box is pretty big, so maybe you can go in with your favorite event neighbors or sponsor a box with a group. Maybe your association would co-sponsor with you and it can be housed at your favorite event company office in town. It's called TerraCycle, TerraCyle. And they have a special box for name tags and lanyards to go zero waste. And you can pack up a box once it's full and send it back to them. And they will manage and make sure that all of that specialty recycling gets to the right place. So for all of your lanyards and name tags, it's taking up space. I know we all collect them and then we regret it a little bit later. And you can send them in for proper disposal with TerraCyle. This is not sponsored. I just am the human PSA.
Oh, I love that, Alicia. That is one, as we're hearing your bonus tip, we're going to put the link in the show notes for you, everybody, because I was Googling it, and that's a really cool feature. I wouldn't have thought of that. And I think we're always looking for turnkey solutions. This website, TerraCyle, honestly looks like you can get boxes for almost anything you're trying to get rid of, which, as like somebody who likes to organize and purge things, I love that this feels a little bit more sustainable than me just putting it in the trash or putting it in the donate pile. So, Mary, have you heard of TerraCyle?
I've never heard of it, but this is like so timely. Just yesterday, I was talking to someone about their badge, and I was like, "You want me to throw this away, or what should I do with it?" And then I was like, "I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to throw it away." And then I have a huge stack. I was about to go get it, but I will spare you all. I think we're all in the same boat. So I love this tip, Alicia. Thank you.
All right. And our next one is from one of our OG fans. You know, we love having both Mary and I talk about having our moms be our original supporters of the podcast. We had a fun mom episode. If you're a part of our paid private community, you can go back and listen to that from Mother's Day last year. But this next one is a bonus tip courtesy of Mary's mom.
This is Mary's mom. I was on the Mom's podcast, if you remember. My bonus tip is never get too busy and forget to journal your experiences and what you're learning from your event. This can really be helpful to your posterity, even those that are interested in following in what you're doing. And they need to see the good things. They also need to see the things that didn't work out. So keeping a journal, I guess, is my bonus tip. It's so important. Write down the things that are maybe even amazing that work and just are very motivating to to people. I think that would be something to remember.
Thanks, Mom. Logan, I'm actually interested in your reaction. Thank you, Mom. Because I was sitting next to her while we recorded this together. So
I love that.
I've heard it before. And Mom, shout out to you. You had a few ideas and we landed on this one. And it just reminds me also of like a solid post-event debrief, to be honest, but with yourself, which is great.
Yes. No, I love that. I think I have a bad habit when I'm busy I'm good at getting my post-event reports in, but my personal journal, I will say, I have been neglecting a lot just with life being busy. And I like your pro tip, Mary. I think you've shared before too, that sometimes writing it out isn't your forte post-event, that recording a voice note to yourself is an easier way to kind of capture what's in your head. So no matter what, listeners, I feel like we all do need to do better at recording what happened and what we liked. And to your mom's point, what maybe didn't go well to help out future us. So that's a really good one.
Thank you, Mom. And we will go ahead and move into our next clip, which is from Shenandoah Nicholson. This is a reaction to a relevant piece of advice. So let's hear it.
One piece of advice that, regardless of the year, always feels really relevant to me is that we are the only ones that know exactly what it is meant to look like. And so sometimes we as planners or our stakeholders get really hung up on minor details that at the end of the day are not really going to impact the attendee experience. And if we have to adjust on site, we're the only ones that know. And so if you keep that information to yourself, your attendees are only going to know what you tell them. So my advice is to remember that you are the only one who has that vision in your head and that your attendees are just coming for a great experience. As long as you provide them that, you're doing great.
Yeah, nodding my head, Shenandoah. I feel like I've been giving that pep talk. I'm working a lot of women's pro softball this summer. And with that, I'm working with MCs, hosts who are used to softball, or maybe they're new to it, and PA announcers. And my pep talk to them is always, you and I are the only ones who know that this is a script, or that there were certain talking points we were trying to hit. So if you miss a word or you forget something, it's okay. Keep going, because no one else knows. It's only if you make a big deal out of it, is it going to clue in fans that there was something else going on. So I love applying that overall to the event. I think, Mary, you and I talk about this too sometimes, of like, oh, it's an us thing. Like, we noticed as event people, but your average attendee did not notice.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just talking about the post-event debrief, and that's exactly what this reminds me of. First of all, Shenandoah, thank you for telling us all that we're doing great, if that's what we're covering. Because honestly, you said that, and I was like, oh, thanks. Because we don't acknowledge that enough, whether like Logan was just saying to yourself or in a team setting. And we need to acknowledge the learnings. That's part of the process. But to your point, do the attendees notice it or not? I mean, that's probably a win, right? If they don't. And so I love this. I think it's also a really good reminder. And Shenandoah, you made me feel better about myself. So thank you.
All right, our next one is from Joanna. She is a listener of the podcast and a fellow event pro based here in the Seattle area. And I will say Joanna gets a gold star for tackling not one, but all three of our prompts that we gave her. So let's give a listen to what Joanna thought about growth, as well as her bonus tip and a piece of advice.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Logan. This is Joanna Minna with Miniature Events. I am a freelance event professional in the Seattle area, but I also travel. I wanted to record a little message for you. Thank you for reaching out to me to reflect on growth that I've experienced this past 6 months since the Better Events conference. The year started out a little slow, but I had some steady work with conferences. And of course, I got to do this event in Hawaii with the wonderful DC Evans. Shout out, Kind and Company Events. Always a great way to start the year. And then in February, I had 2 new planners reach out to me to not only help execute their events, but also to help plan a few. And then when I realized that that was actually part of my goal setting when we did the exercise in how we would like to experience growth in 2025. So that's been an amazing experience. And I feel that Miniature Events is actually kind of getting some traction. And I also won the Rising Star Award for ILEA, the International Live Events Association in Seattle. So that was very unexpected and very exciting. And then another part of the goal setting that I had was I wanted to work at least one international event. A client that I work with had reached out about a month ago and asked me if I'd be willing to go to Ireland. And I almost jumped out of my skin because I realized that was part of a goal I had set for myself. Fortunately and unfortunately, I wasn't able to due to a prior commitment with another longstanding client. However, because I've not shut the door on that opportunity, I am now going to Toronto in a couple of weeks. So still an international event. And then maybe by the end of this year, if you do another roundup, I will have some other interesting news to report. Let's see. You also asked for a bonus tip. I might be talking too long, but I feel like a bonus tip may have been shared before, but it bears repeating. Since I do a lot of travel for events, I keep a bag of goodies with me at all times in my go bag, and it has grown. One thing I always keep stocked is emergency. So I take one the first day I arrive, because when greeting so many people on, say, 1,000-person event, it's good to keep your immunity strong. So I would always keep emergency in my go bag. And then also, I can't tell you how many people just need a Band-Aid. So I always keep a small stack of Band-Aids in that bag too. I know I am a mom also, so that might be why I carry that stuff. So lastly, one piece of advice that I've received this year that feels relevant is know your worth. there seems to be in the industry a sliding scale of pay. I've become better at saying, this is my rate, with a little more confidence than I did 2 years ago. And if it's within their budget, great. And if not, there will always be another gig. I say that now, of course, in peak event season. So this may change in the dark winter months. But for now, the best advice was know my worth and know that there are professionals that value my experience and will happily pay. I really appreciate the opportunity to share my experience with y'all. I guess side note, Logan, one thing I did say to you at the Better Events conference was, I'm going to work with you this year. So I still got 6 months to go. Hope I'll get a chance to work with you here or on the road. All right. Thanks, you two. Hope you have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Joanna, what are you doing during that Better Events conference? You could come work with Logan at that time. Oh no, maybe I'm teasing, maybe I'm not. We'll see. We got to make that happen. Joanna, thank you so much for your thoughts. There's so many things. The biggest thing I noticed is that everything you said was like either relevant to what's already been said, because first of all, you shout out DC. DC already shared her clip, which is amazing. You mentioned Toronto. Shout out to Shenandoah. Isn't that where Shenandoah is located as well? So you should go see her there. Then not only that, just the stuff that you mentioned, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I feel like I'm dealing with and going through right now as well. So listeners, maybe you felt similarly. Joanna, it's been so fun to see your journey, but also to hear about it and what you've been experiencing so far this year. So I love that. Logan, what's your reaction?
Oh, I mean, she hit all points. I love it. I think I was really snapping on mute. You couldn't hear me, but I was really snapping for her advice of just know your worth, because listeners, I have it framed next to my desk. If there'll always be another gig, another event. And again, easy, as she said, to say that when you're busy, but the more you can just embody that, I truly, like Joanna, I don't think there will be dark winter months. I think there will be chosen slowdown periods for yourself, because you will try to pick what and choose what you want to do. But yeah, just all around good vibe. It's just a feel good episode, Mary. I feel like we got tangible, actionable tips for people, which we love in our podcast, but also some feel good moments. So I don't want this to end. I want more and more clips from listeners.
Well, lucky for you, we have one more clip today, and I'm sure we're going to have more feel good moments when we listen to Gabby Rabuccio's clip.
Hi there, Gabby here with Pro Event Tips. For those of you who don't know me, I work with event professionals and event teams to develop their relationship management skills, something we all really need in this industry but are very rarely taught. Lately, I've noticed a common challenge amongst event profs. Often, they think they're opening up collaboration with their stakeholders, but the way they're asking for feedback is unintentionally inviting criticism instead of partnership, and it makes the relationship feel more negative than it needs to. So, here's a quick quote that I use to try and flip that script a little. It goes like this: if you ask for an opinion, you'll get a critic, but if you ask for advice, you'll get a partner. So let that sink for a second. What do I mean? So instead of saying, what do you think of this idea? Try something like, hey, this is my idea. How would you implement it if it were you? Do you see the difference? The first question almost begs them to find flaws and critique you, while the second one is inviting them to co-create, find solutions, or generate ideas with you. It's subtle, but it's a really powerful way to build more positive and productive relationships with clients, vendors, even your internal team. Obviously, opinions have a place in the feedback loop, I know that, but if you're looking for a way to generate positivity with someone in particular, this can really help. Give it a shot next time you feel like you're missing the collaboration piece of a partnership, and let me know how it goes.
Oh, Gabby, I feel like that was a good one. I love a little simple reframe like that. So simple, but also really informative, and a great way, yes, to open yourself up for feedback, but to your point, not necessarily criticism or shooting down of ideas.
I totally agree. And I was actually thinking, I'm like a really entrepreneurial person. I got a lot of ideas. I think a lot of us in this space are similar to that. And so, Gabby, when you were saying that, I had a friend who was saying that he doesn't like to share his new ideas that he has with people until he feels really confident in them himself, because he's worried that people will shoot him down during a time when he just is really trying to build like courage and energy around this new idea. And so that reframe actually really helps invite people to participate in that collaboration sooner without maybe inviting, it's a special time for someone when they're trying to figure out what they want to do. And so I think that is wonderful. Thank you so much for that piece of advice.
Well, Mary, that was all of them. As I say, I want to keep going, but we love hearing from you listeners. So if you have a bonus tip you'd love us to include in a future episode, you're welcome to send us an email. But Mary, anything else before we want to wrap up this week's episode?
No, just thanks for participating. And let's go ahead and turn it to our bonus tip, which you have today, Logan.
I do. This one is one that I realized I was doing and asking, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone articulate this. But my bonus tip is, if you have a vendor that you're talking to, ask if they're actually going to be on site. Like, the person you are interacting with, will that person be on site for your event? Because large teams, that it often is that you're talking to somebody different than who's going to be executing it. And while I don't think that is exactly a deal breaker, certain things that I do, like in the production space, if I feel like I really click with someone who is a technical director, that was a decision-making factor for me of picking one company over the other. Was one company I was going to work with the guy that I'd been talking to for weeks. The other one, they were going to offload me to a different team. And that was just something that I valued for my specific client. So I am a big fan of transparency. Again, this shouldn't be the deciding factor, but it is a factor you should think about. Is the person you're talking to going to be executing your event in whatever role that vendor plays?
I love it, Logan, and super true. Honestly, I've experienced that before as well. Thank you for the bonus tip. And thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of the Better Events Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Better Events Pod. You can email us at bettereventspod@gmail.com. You can also connect with Logan and I directly on LinkedIn. We love to hear from you. Just let us know that you heard about us here on the podcast, so we make sure to accept your connection request. And if you want more Better Events content, make sure to join our private community on Substack. Also, listen for more information about the Better Events Conference, which is coming up this year again. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. We will be back in your ears again next Wednesday.